Brilliant. How are you? Good? You well? I'm getting the hang of my little countdown timer. Somebody got in touch and said, you know those posts you put up where you're saying in 15 minutes I'll be meditating for... Yeah, they're not going to show up on anyone's feed in 15 minutes. So that's what's led to the countdown timer. So yeah, the times I do this are between 6 and 7 Irish time, so whatever you are. So I hope you're well. I hope it's going well. It's fine if it's not. Not every day is good, but I hope it's going well. We're going to do a bit of meditation now. This isn't a class, it's just a chance to meditate together. These meditations are part of the further emergence work that I do, and I'll explain all about further emergence when we're finished the meditation. Well, for now, if you're an experienced meditator, if you're used to meditating, that's brilliant. Can you hang on for a minute while I explain what I do, just for the benefit of people who are new to meditation? There's lots of different styles of meditation, but this is what I do. For me, it starts with why I would meditate. I'm trying to connect to a part of me that I connect to every night when I'm asleep. Not the dreaming bit, the bit after dreaming. So I'm dreaming, and then I drop out the bottom of dreaming into deep dreamless sleep, where I have no thoughts, no memories, no feelings, no emotions, no personality. I don't have a body. I don't have a house. I don't have a bedroom. I don't have anything. I don't even have me, because I cease to exist. Certainly in the way that I normally register that I'm existing, which, you know, that sounds awful, doesn't it? That sounds like death. And yet, I love going to sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, I feel refreshed. So some part of me knows that wherever I go, that is a good place. And that's where I want to go to when I meditate. I just want to do it consciously. So straight away, if you're new to meditation, don't try this lying down, because you'll fall asleep. And if you don't fall asleep, you'll battle sleep, both of which are counter what we're trying to do. So as I said, I've no thoughts when I'm in this place, so it's not somewhere my mind can go. So I have to figure out how to go somewhere without my mind, because it's almost like my mind has to wait outside the door of this place that I go to. So I have to figure out a way of sort of parting the curtains in my mind. That's the way I like to think of it. So what I do is I make an arrangement with my mind where I say, could you just not think for the next 15 minutes, please? And my mind has done this so many times that at this stage it's like, yeah, fine, we can do that. That's no problem. So having my mind on board is very helpful. Then to stop thinking, that's not as hard as it sounds. It's not that hard to stop, because regardless of what I'm thinking about, which would be the content of my thoughts, the structure of my thoughts, it's always the same. It's always pictures and sound. So if I turn off the pictures and I turn off the sound, that's it. I'm not thinking. As soon as I do that, I'm into the practice of meditation. Now, the practice of meditation runs parallel with the intention of my meditation. My intention is, as I said earlier on, to go to this deep, still, profound, possibly eternal, Zen-like, you know, all the words that are used to describe meditation, that place. And then the practice of meditation runs right along beside it, and it starts as soon as I stop thinking. And it pretty much goes, I turn off the pictures and I turn off the sound, so I bring myself to not thinking. Then some time passes, and I discover I'm thinking again, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm thinking. I'll turn off the pictures, I turn off the sound. I bring myself back to not thinking. Then some more time passes, and I discover I'm thinking again. Oh, thinking again. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Then some more time passes, I discover I'm thinking again. Okay, I'm thinking again. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking, and so on. That's it. That's the practice of meditation. Every time I discover that I'm thinking, I bring myself back to not thinking. It's important to know that, because it's easy to get the idea that to meditate properly you shouldn't be thinking at all, which isn't true. Certainly not my experience. It's a sort of a dance between these two things, the intention and the practice. Sometimes I'll be very deep and still, I'll be in that part. And then other times I'll be discovering that I'm thinking. And both are powerful. It's kind of obviously powerful when you're deep and still and you feel your nervous system settling and it's beautiful. It's not so obvious, the power isn't so obvious when you are discovering that you're thinking, because it can be easy to get it irritated at that point. But that's missing an important point, because if you're like me, the sort of things that you think about will be to do with you. So for me, I'll be thinking about, why did I say that to that person? What am I going to do about that thing? Where did I put that other thing? And so on and so forth. All to do with me. Now, if I'm in the middle of meditation and I'm in the middle of one of those thoughts and I discover that I'm thinking, I go, oh, I'm thinking. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. The power is in what's happening behind the scenes, because indirectly what I'm saying to myself is, or I'm demonstrating to myself is, you know, that thought that you just had, that you thought was you and that you were it, well, you just made that disappear. So you're not that thought. In fact, you're not any of your thoughts. You're something else. That's very powerful. And then the fact that you do that repeatedly is very powerful too. So they're both powerful. So don't add to your thinking by thinking that you're thinking too much or that you're doing it wrong. If whenever you discover that you're thinking, you bring yourself back to not thinking, if you keep doing that, you'll be doing great. And there's no right amount of times. Meaning, you know, you could meditate in the morning and have to bring yourself back from thinking loads and loads of times. And then in the afternoon, you might meditate and you mightn't have to bring yourself back half as many times. That doesn't mean the afternoon meditation is better than the morning meditation. It doesn't work like that. There's no set right amount of times you should be bringing yourself back from not thinking, because it changes. Changes day to day, changes hour to hour. Main thing is, every time you discover that you're thinking, bring yourself back to not thinking. If you do that, you're doing great. Now, the other thing I'm doing is I'm letting go of tension in my body, which is another way of saying I'm becoming more conscious of my body. So I have a system for that. I scan my body from my head down to my feet and back up again. Very slowly, very gently. Anywhere I find tension, I let it go. And I use my out breath to let the tension go, because it's very natural to just breathe it away. It's also a good way of bringing more awareness to my breath, because it's really easy to hold your breath during meditation or to stop breathing altogether. So using the out breath to let the tension go is a good way of being more aware of my breathing. The other thing I do as I'm scanning my body is I pay particular attention to any structures in my body that go across or transverse, because most of my body is longitudinal. It runs from my head down to my feet and back up again. Anywhere that goes across operates a little bit like a log going across a stream. You know, it picks up all the twigs and the branches and the leaves and anything that's coming down the stream, except in my body, it's tension. So I'm paying a particular notice, I'm taking particular notice of my eyes. There can be a lot of tension in there. My jaw and tongue, these are all transverse sites. The base of my neck, my shoulder girdle, a lot of tension can be in the joint, in the shoulders. All my joints, they're transverse sites as well. So shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers. My heart area, my respiratory diaphragm, all my intestines, my pelvic floor, my hips, my knees, my ankles, and my toes. Having a nice quiet room is really helpful when you're starting out in meditation, because one of the things that triggers thoughts is noise, and when you close your eyes, your hearing's going to amplify. So the nice quiet room where you're not going to be disturbed, that really helps your mind not think. And then the other thing I do to help my mind not think is I set a timer for how long I'm going to meditate for. I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes, but you could set yours for shorter if you're new to meditation. Maybe 5 minutes, and then repeat that 3 times. Because 15 minutes is a long time if you're not used to it. I know that sounds crazy, but it is. And even with the timer, around the 7-minute mark, your mind will kick in going, nah, you didn't turn the timer on, or the internet connection is broken, that you've lost the link with Instagram or YouTube or whatever, you need to look at your watch. So 5 minutes, 3 times. All right, now any questions before we get going? Nope, nope, nope. Good. Okay. Off we go then, into the mystery. feel like you've gone very deeply inside and you feel like you need to come back from there, then take your time to do that before you open your eyes. Or if you feel like you can hold the inner space and the outer space at the same time, then you can just open your eyes. And if when you do that you feel like you've lost the inner space, you can just close your eyes again, reconnect with it, open them again. If you feel like you lose it again, close them again. You can use your eyes like a valve to equalize the inner space and the outer space. Now, as I said at the beginning, these meditations, these daily meditations I do, are part of Further Emergence. Further Emergence is to do with growth, inner growth, growth in consciousness. You could call it spiritual growth, growth in awareness, that kind of growth. When you're growing up as a child, your body grows, and then you become an adolescent, then you become an adult, and then your body stops growing and it switches into maintenance and replication. But you keep growing on the inside. That doesn't stop. You only have to think back to who you were 10 years ago, and you'll see you've grown. And just like when your body was growing when you were a child, you might have gone through a period of where growth speeded up, accelerated growth. They're called growth spurts. Same thing happens on the inside, and because you keep growing on the inside, that goes on for your whole life. It's those inner growth spurts. That's what Further Emergence is about. Because when you're a kid and you go through a growth spurt and you have growing pains and it's uncomfortable, it's not like you're brought to the hospital or even brought to the doctor. Your parents would have just said, "Oh, it's terrible, but that's just growing pains. It'll pass." It's a bit harder with inner growth spurts because it's harder to know, oh, this is just natural, it will pass, it's just an accelerated process of growth. You can feel like there's something wrong, or you're not, it can be quite disorienting and quite confusing. So that's what Further Emergence is about. It's about helping with that process. So these meditations help because the more familiar you are with your inner space, the easier it is to navigate those inner growth spurts. Then there's also a Zoom group every week, tomorrow actually, and that's a chance to meditate a bit more deeply. It's more questions and answers kind of a thing, and it's a chance to see that you're not on your own and go, oh, okay, other people are going through this. I thought it was just me. Because one of the ways that Further Emergence can kind of happen is you can kind of almost overnight go from everybody gets you, you get everybody, it's great, to no one gets me, no one understands what's going on. I feel like I'm going very fast on the inside, or I feel like I'm stuck on the inside. It can come to lots of different ways. So the Zoom groups are great for hearing other people and going, oh, okay, so it's not just me. And they're open to everyone. So if you want to come to a Zoom group, you're very welcome. The link is on the website, furtheremergence.com, the Zoom link. You can, if you're not sure, and you're like, well, what's that like? You can look at the videos. There's videos from the different Zoom groups on whatever channel you're looking at this on, whether it's a YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. There'll be a video of a Zoom group there. And then also there's the audio from the Zoom groups are on the podcast, so you can listen to them either. So that's another thing to help with Further Emergence. Then I also work with people one-to-one. I do that twice a week. And that's kind of in front of the scenes and behind the scenes work. It's pretty intensive. The sessions are long. And it's a combination of talking it through and feedback. And then the person will lie down and I'll do a sort of distance energetic work to sort of help their system with that process as well. Then I've got books as well. I've written books. There's 4 books, all kind of around the subject of Further Emergence, different aspects. So yeah, that's Further Emergence. If you've listened all the way to the end, you're still with me, maybe that's ringing a bell for you. You might want to it might be drawing you to like go into it more. So you can just follow along on whatever channel you're looking at, or you can go to the website and read more about it, or you can come to a Zoom group, or listen to the podcast, or just get in touch. So thanks very much for meditating with me, and see you tomorrow for some more meditation.